Are you serious? Are you serious? Seriously, serious, guys. We have breaking news, breaking news. I just did a small short on YouTube. If you look in the shorts, I just did a breaking news on the Kremlin and the situation taking place at the Kremlin. There has been an attack. I repeat, there's been an attack on the Kremlin. A drone, a killer drone, has hit the Kremlin. Let me tell you more about that in just a second. I have information now coming in very quickly. I want to thank Israel Hall for getting this to me. It's happening very quickly now. I'll share it with you in just a second. First, let's go to www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Gold is hot. No question about that. Gold is hot, and prices are soaring. Experts are predicting even more to come. Not so long ago, gold reached an all-time high of $2,069 an ounce, and now it's inching ever closer to that number again. Bank of America, one of the largest banks in the world, is saying that gold will rise further still to even over $2,200 an ounce before the year is over. So what does that mean? Well, gold is already a safety net for your hard-earned money. And now, when the stock market is all over the place and the value of the dollar is uncertain, being safe really counts like never before. NobleGoldInvestment.com is offering this 5 ounces of pure silver, America the Beautiful coin, for all qualified IRA or old 401k rollover customers. A solid silver U.S. Mint issued coin, guys, celebrating our national parks. Free. They'll give it to you for free if you qualify with a precious metals IRA or 401k rollover. Pick up the phone and call Colin Plume at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And tell them that Pastor Paul Begley sent you to noblegoldinvestment.com. All right. Now, what's happening is critical. We're in a very serious situation now. Because what's happened is the Kremlin has been hit. I have been looking at some of the actual footage that came in through Instagram of I see a drone coming in and then exploding right on the Kremlin. And then fire starts to rage from the top of the Kremlin. The target was President Vladimir Putin. He was the target of this assassination attempt. This is crazy. Now, I just got another update, just came in, let me find it. It just came in from Israel Hall that now the British, okay, air alarms are breaking, urgent. Air alarms are going off all over Kiev and in several other regions of Ukraine. This was a tweet by the Royal Intel. They just tweeted this on Twitter. Urgent, breaking urgent. Air alarms are going off right now in Kiev, along with several other regions in Ukraine. So they know, the Ukrainians know that here come the Russians. They're going to retaliate. I'm sure there's no doubt Putin is going to hit them as hard as he can with some type of retaliation. This drone hit the Kremlin. Part of the Kremlin is on fire. Putin was the target. Matter of fact, here's an article. Let me grab this. It just now come off the wire over here. Give me 1 second. And here's what we found out. Russia says Ukraine tried to kill Putin with a drone attack. And there you see the explosion over the Kremlin right there. That's actually the captured on still. But I've seen the video of it as it came in. You could see it coming in and then it explodes. That building right there is on fire. Russia says Ukraine tried to kill Vladimir Putin with a drone attack on the Kremlin. This was Reuters. Russia accuses Ukraine today of attacking the Kremlin with drones overnight in a failed attempt to kill President Vladimir Putin. A senior Ukrainian presidential official says Kiev has nothing to do with this incident. The most dramatic accusation Russia has leveled against Ukraine since invading its neighbor more than 14 months ago. But the Kremlin said 2 drones had been used in an alleged attack on Vladimir Putin's residence in the walled Kremlin citadel, but had been disabled by electronic defenses. Yet the building is on fire, guys. It is the presidential residence. It is said that Russia reserves the right to retaliate, a comment that suggested that Moscow might be getting ready to use an alleged incident to justify further escalation of this war in Ukraine. 2 unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, were aimed at the Kremlin. As a result, timely action taken by their military, they said, to try to defuse them. But that's what Russia says. Yet I've seen the drone footage on my phone where it actually, and here it is. Here's the presidential, I'm going to try this. This is PBT. Okay, but that's the presidential palace. Boom. And that's the explosion. I'll try that again. Boom. All right, so there you see the drone hitting. That is the Kremlin's presidential palace. So the Kremlin's quite large, and it has a lot of different buildings. But there you see, Israel, thank you for getting me to that, get that to me. Also, while this is going on, that I just read to you a report by Reuters. Give me 1 second here, because we also have information. BBC News says Kremlin drone attack. Russia accuses Ukraine of trying to assassinate Vladimir Putin. CNBC News says Ukraine war live updates. Russia claims Ukraine attempted to attack the Kremlin. Yahoo News says that Fox News says Putin faces possible arrest if he attends the BRICS summit in South Africa. That was 14 hours ago. So they were threatening to arrest him if he went to the BRICS summit in South Africa. Okay? But we know right now that the reports are coming in. Vladimir Putin attack on his life at the Kremlin. The Kremlin has been hit. It is on fire. I've seen another footage where it is definitely on fire. Let me see who else is speaking about it now. Kremlin drone attack. Russia accuses Ukraine of trying to assassinate Vladimir Putin. That's BBC. CBS News says Russia claims Ukraine tried to attack the Kremlin with drones in a terrorist attack targeting Vladimir Putin's residence. The Washington Post says the Kremlin says Ukraine sent 2 drones to attack Vladimir Putin. Bloomberg says Russia says it downed these drones on the attack on Putin's Kremlin residence, although I've already seen the footage. The residence, the top of the residence is on fire. Russia, the NPR News says Russia alleges Ukraine drone attack on the Kremlin was to assassinate Putin. AP News said Russia says it foiled the alleged attack on Kremlin. Putin says he's okay. Times of India says Russia says Ukraine attacked the Kremlin with drones in a failed bid to kill President Vladimir Putin. The Daily Beast says the Kremlin says Putin survived the overnight assassination by Ukraine and their killer drones. Matter of fact, the Russian presidential administration has said today that the Kremlin was attacked by drones in an attempt on President Vladimir Putin's life. Moscow residents had reported hearing 2 massive explosions behind the Kremlin walls shortly after 2 a.m. local time in Russia, after which the lights went out. Footage shared by residents in a local Telegram channel captured the incident as smoke was seen filling the sky over the Kremlin. Videos also appear to show part of the Kremlin on fire. Okay, and then I showed you that footage of that explosion. So this is an actual attack. There's no question about it. Now, the question is the retaliation. Where do we go from here? What will Putin do? Already, according to intel, now here we've got some more information coming in. The Ukrainians claim that the drone over the Kremlin is actually a Russian exercise, that the purpose of which is to provide an excuse for a significant attack against Ukraine and its leaders. So what the Ukrainians are saying is, we didn't do this. That this was actually Russia doing this to create an excuse to go after Zelensky and all of the leading officials. Now, Israel Hall said to me that there was a report already out that Putin said that he was going to kill Zelensky and all of his top men. This report coming in from Amir Safari says that the Ukrainians claim that the drone over the Kremlin is actually a Russian exercise, and the purpose of which is to provide an excuse for the significant attack against Ukraine and its leaders. So that's what Safari is hearing from Ukraine, which you knew from Russia. You knew that Russia was going to say Ukraine did it. You knew Ukraine was going to say, Russia, this is a false flag, and Russia's using this to to come after us with a barrage, maybe even a tactical nuke. Who knows? We know everybody lies. We're in war. And now you don't know what to believe. All I can say is this: the Kremlin is on fire. The presidential residence roof is on fire and was hit with a drone attack. So at first, Russia says they shot down the drones, but now they changed that story because the Kremlin's presidential residence ceiling roof is on fire. So they can't say they shot it down because they obviously were hit with the drone. The question is, would Russia go to the lengths of hitting their own presidential residence to make an excuse to go after Ukraine? Would you do that? That's one question. Or did Ukraine actually hit the Kremlin, and now the Kremlin is going to fire, the empire is going to strike back? This is really a situation developing. All I know is this. Look, we all know that it was Putin that invaded Ukraine in the first place, and so Ukraine has obviously had the right to fight back. They've obviously deserved the opportunity to defend themselves if you've been attacked. But when you go after the other nation's leader, when you literally try to take out the head of a nation, that's a whole different ball game, and the reaction could be catastrophic. We know that Russia has more nuclear weapons than any other nation in the world. So, folks, I'm not picking sides. I'm not trying to decipher this and tell you whether it was this or it was that, it was this. Anybody you see do that today, and you will see it, say it was Russia, they did it to themselves, this is a false flag, and then the next person will say it was Ukraine. They don't know. Nobody out there is going to know exactly. What we do know is a drone hit the presidential residence of Vladimir Putin. That we know. That we see. That we know. Who did it? Just say this: that we know. It was hit. The next question is, what will Russia do about it? Will they go and blow up stuff? Were they going to hit Kiev? According to reports on Twitter right now, the sirens are going off like crazy all over Kiev. And Israel's doing everything he can to... Yes, it is Israel says, it's a perfect excuse for a Russian sympathy for a tactical nuke or overwhelming strike. Of course, he's exactly right. So we have breaking news, urgent news. The royal intel coming out of the UK says that the air alarms going off right now all over Kiev and all along with several other regions in Ukraine. So in other words, the whole nation of Ukraine now on high alert, expecting a counterattack from Russia. the Russian residence, the Putin's presidential residence, hit by a drone and roof on fire. But the reports are Putin is survived this attack and now is getting ready to do a counterattack. Now, the question is going to be, how hard is he going to hit them? And will he use a tactical nuke? This is a question I can't answer. This is a question we don't know. This is a serious situation. It's developing as we speak. And so I'm going to, Israel's doing a great job here. Israel Hall doing a great job gathering information. we're going to just hang with me just for another minute or two in case there's something else comes in. But it's absolutely no doubt that the Kremlin was hit. I'm going to show this again. You probably can't hear it, but you'll see it at the top. Boom. Okay, so that was the Kremlin. The roof of the presidential residence being hit by this drone, and later I see footage of that roof on fire. So it was obviously it was hit. First, Russia said that it wasn't hit, that they shot it down, but that story couldn't last because the roof's on fire. So the resident was hit. And that makes me believe that probably without a doubt, Ukraine hit it. And I don't blame Ukraine, but this is a game changer if they did hit it. Obviously, we have a war going on. The bottom line is this: what will Putin do now? What will Putin do now? He has more nuclear weapons than any other nation in the world. And he obviously is at war with the West. And he may say that it wasn't Ukraine. He may say that it was NATO that did it. You have to understand. Listen to me very closely. Putin may say, you know what? It wasn't Ukraine. It was Britain. It was Germany. It was NATO. It was the Americans. It was NATO. And so he may turn his guns toward NATO nations instead of Ukraine. He may hit Ukraine too. But he's capable of flying MiGs in there. He could hit Kiev. No doubt about that. He'll hit Kiev. But will he go after London? Will he go after Munich or Berlin? Will he go after Paris? Will he go after Anchorage, Alaska? Will he use his submarines in the Atlantic? I just got another report. This is coming in from Newswire. Russian parliament speaker demands that Kiev regime be destroyed after the drone attack on the Kremlin. That's according to Russian TASS news agency. That's coming from the Newswire. That has just come across. Israel Hall, thank you so much for this information. So the Russian parliament, the speaker now of the Russian parliament has just spoken, and he is demanding that Kiev's regime, that be Zelensky and his guys, that the Kiev regime be destroyed after the drone attack hit the Kremlin early this morning in Moscow, Russia. We're going to keep a close eye on all of this information. I am going to be back with a full broadcast, a full show with all the current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. This is definitely World War III. The question is, has Apollyon been released? And are we about ready to see the sixth trumpet war, as it says in the book of Revelation? What happens in the sixth trumpet war? Folks, 1/3 of the world will die. 2.5 billion people. It is in your Bible. Or are we ready to see a war break loose that ends up turning into Ezekiel 38? We know that Russia and Turkey and Iran have been, and Syria just held a meeting last week. So there's a lot going on. This thing is getting very, very dangerous. Things is really ramping up. And so I'll be back at 12 noon Eastern with a complete broadcast right here on this channel. Do not miss it. I'll be right back at 12 noon. Go to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. Our website's paulbegleyprophecy.com. If you're not saved, it is absolutely imperative that you get your soul cleansed in the blood of the Lamb, that you get your name written in the Lamb's book of life, because we are living in the last days. I may do some quick shorts, so keep an eye on my channel at YouTube. I may do shorts. Those are 60-second updates. I'll pop those up if needed. God bless. I'll see you at 12 noon.